12 years had passed since the last World Cup. 12 years of war, destruction, fear, and silence. Cities across Europe lay in ruins after World War II. Millions of lives had been lost. Stadiums had become military camps. Some footballers never returned home. For a long time, it seemed impossible that the world could ever gather again for a celebration of sport. But in 1950, football returned, and it returned in spectacular fashion. The 1950 FIFA World Cup was held in Brazil, a nation obsessed with football and desperate to show the world hope again. Brazil prepared for the tournament like it was building a monument to the future. In Rio de Janeiro, workers constructed the gigantic Maracanaço stadium, a stadium so enormous it looked impossible. Nearly 200,000 people could fit inside. It was meant to be the cathedral of football, but the tournament itself almost never happened. Many European nations were still recovering from the war and could not afford to travel. Some teams withdrew at the last minute. In the end, only 13 nations participated. Even so, excitement exploded across Brazil. People painted streets in national colors. Children kicked balls through crowded neighborhoods. Newspapers declared that Brazil's victory was destiny. And honestly, it looked true. Brazil played beautiful football. They crushed Sweden 7-1. Then they destroyed Spain 6-1. The crowds danced in the stands. Bands played music through the streets all night long. Before the final match had even begun, newspapers printed headlines calling Brazil the new world champions. There was only one obstacle left: Uruguay. At first, nobody feared them. Uruguay was a small nation of barely 2 million people. Brazil was huge, powerful, and playing at home in front of the largest football crowd in history. The final match on July 16, 1950, did not even officially look like a final. The tournament used a final group stage instead of a knockout championship game. But everyone knew the truth. Whoever won this match would win the World Cup. And Brazil needed only a draw. Inside the Maracanaço, nearly 200,000 fans packed together shoulder to shoulder. It was one of the loudest crowds football had ever seen. Flags waved everywhere. Drums thundered. Reporters prepared victory speeches before kickoff. Then the match began. Brazil attacked constantly. Uruguay defended bravely. Early in the second half, Brazil finally scored. The stadium exploded. Fans screamed, cried, embraced strangers. Fireworks erupted outside the stadium. Brazil believed the cup was theirs, but Uruguay refused to surrender. Their captain, Obdulio Varela, gathered his teammates and calmed them down. Slowly, Uruguay fought back. First came the equalizer. The stadium became quieter. Then, with just minutes remaining, Uruguayan forward Alcides Gigia raced down the right side of the field. Everyone expected a cross. Instead, Gigia fired the ball toward the near post. Goal. Silence. Absolute silence. Nearly 200,000 people stood frozen. The impossible had happened. Uruguay had defeated Brazil 2-1 inside the Maracana. The tragedy became known forever as the Maracanazo, the blow of the Maracana. Some Brazilian fans cried openly in the stands. Others sat motionless for hours after the game ended. Brazil's white national team jersey became so associated with heartbreak that the country abandoned it forever and later adopted the famous yellow shirt the world knows today. Years later, Gigia famously said, "Only 3 people have silenced the Maracana: Frank Sinatra, the Pope, and me." Yet beyond the heartbreak, the 1950 World Cup meant something larger. After years of war and suffering, the world had finally gathered again. Football had survived, and the World Cup was alive once more.